Imagine being one of the most powerful men in the music industry for over 30 years. Imagine throwing parties that every A-list celebrity in Hollywood wanted an invite to. Imagine having the connections, the money, and the influence to make or break anyone's career. Now imagine what happens when that empire starts to crack. Because in September 2024, the man who built Bad Boy Records, the man who shaped hip-hop as we know it, was arrested on federal charges. And the question that the entire entertainment world has been whispering ever since is this: who else knew? To understand the weight of this story, you need to understand who Sean Combs was before the handcuffs. Born in Harlem in 1969, Sean Combs, known as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, and later just Diddy, built one of the most remarkable empires in entertainment history. He founded Bad Boy Records in 1993 and almost immediately turned it into a cultural force. The notorious B.I.G. Mace, Faith Evans, Total. He didn't just sign artists, he created superstars. By the 2000s, Diddy had expanded beyond music, clothing lines, television, vodka, fragrances. He became a symbol of black excellence, ambition, and success. He sat front row at fashion shows. He hosted parties that became legendary. Presidents took his calls, and at the center of that world were the parties, the so-called freak-offs, a term that would later appear repeatedly in federal court documents, were gatherings that blended celebrity, access, and alleged coercion into something far darker than the glamorous photos suggested. For years, the parties were just gossip, rumors, the kind of thing people whispered but nobody put in print. That changed in November 2023. In November 2023, Diddy's former longtime girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, filed a lawsuit against him. The allegations were deeply disturbing, claims of abuse, rape, and control spanning years of their relationship. The lawsuit was settled the very next day, but the speed of that settlement didn't close the story. It blew it wide open, because within weeks, more lawsuits followed. Then more. By early 2025, more than 24 civil lawsuits had been filed against Combs, with allegations ranging from sexual assault to physical violence to more serious claims of coercion and trafficking. In March 2024, federal agents raided Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. He called it an unprecedented ambush. Law enforcement called it part of an ongoing investigation. Then in May 2024, CNN published surveillance footage from a hotel corridor showing Combs physically attacking Ventura, footage the prosecution would later use as central evidence in the criminal trial. By September 2024, Sean Combs was arrested on federal charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and violations of the Mann Act. The empire had fallen, but the real question the public wanted answered wasn't just about Diddy, it was about everyone around him. Here's where the conspiracy angle gets real, and where we need to be very careful about separating what is alleged, what is proven, and what remains unknown. The federal indictment painted a picture of a criminal enterprise. Prosecutors alleged that Combs used his vast network of business ventures, employees, and associates to enable and cover up years of alleged abuse. They alleged bribery, coercion, and intimidation were all part of how this allegedly operated. Now, those parties, Diddy's gatherings, were famous in the industry. A-list celebrities, label executives, politicians, athletes. The guest lists read like a who's who of American fame and power, and the lawsuits filed against Combs by multiple plaintiffs describe scenes at these parties that, if accurate, would suggest that a significant number of people in powerful positions were either present for or aware of deeply troubling behavior. One lawsuit alleged that Combs and another unnamed celebrity assaulted a 13-year-old girl at an after-party following the 2000 MTV VMAs. That lawsuit was later refiled, naming Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, as the second individual. Jay-Z has forcefully denied these allegations, called them false, and accused the plaintiff's attorney of attempting blackmail. He has not been charged with any crime, and the allegation remains unproven in court. What that lawsuit does illustrate, however, is the nature of the broader question being asked. In an industry where Combs held enormous power for 3 decades, who knew what was happening and when? The trial of Sean Combs began on May 5th, 2025, in Manhattan Federal Court. For 7 weeks, the world watched. Cassie Ventura took the stand and described years of what she called abuse, manipulation, and control. Other witnesses testified about the alleged pattern of behavior. The hotel surveillance video was shown to the jury. Prosecutors called Combs a man who used power, violence and fear to get what he wanted. On July 2nd, 2025, the jury returned its verdict, and it shocked everyone. Combs was acquitted of the two most serious charges, racketeering conspiracy and sex trafficking, but he was convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution under the Mann Act, charges related to crossing state lines. On October 3rd, 2025, he was sentenced to 50 months in prison, just over 4 years, plus a $500,000 fine and 5 years of supervised release. His legal team called the sentence excessive. Prosecutors had pushed for over 11 years. As of today, Combs is serving that sentence at FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey. His team has filed an appeal, with oral arguments scheduled for April 2026. But here's what the verdict didn't answer, and what still has the internet asking questions. The concept of a Diddy list, a rumored record of celebrities, executives, and public figures who allegedly attended his parties or had knowledge of what allegedly took place there, has circulated online since the moment his arrest became public. Let's be honest, no verified official list has been publicly released by federal prosecutors. What does exist are the civil lawsuits, over 120 alleged victims represented by one attorney alone, some of which reference unnamed Celebrity A and Celebrity B type figures. What exists are the court documents referencing a criminal enterprise with multiple unnamed co-conspirators. What exists is the documented fact that federal prosecutors stated their criminal investigation was ongoing and that additional charges or defendants could be added. That last point is the one that Hollywood hasn't stopped thinking about, because when federal prosecutors say an investigation is ongoing, they mean it. The machinery of the Diddy case didn't end with sentencing. The civil lawsuits continue, the appellate process continues, and the question of who else may eventually be named, whether through civil proceedings, amended indictments, or future charges, remains very much open. Here is what we can say with confidence. Sean Combs built an empire that gave him extraordinary access to some of the most powerful people in entertainment for over 30 years. Multiple lawsuits allege that this power was used to enable serious abuse. He has been convicted of federal crimes and is currently in prison. What we cannot say, and what this channel will never claim, is that any specific named individual is guilty of anything. Allegations are not convictions. Lawsuits are not verdicts. And in a case this large and this politically charged, it's important to hold the line between what is proven and what is theory. What we can say is that the entertainment industry has a problem, and the Diddy case, whatever the final chapter looks like, has pulled back the curtain on a world where power, money, and silence have historically protected people who perhaps should not have been protected. The investigation is ongoing. The story is not over. If this video made you think differently about what goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood, drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think still has questions to answer?